That's the latest. I'm Scarlett Borden-Gall.
Well, thank you very much there, Scarlett. Hello, everybody. I'm Daryl, and I've got a very special show on today. I'm going to be introducing you to an incredibly talented singer-songwriter, Mansel Davies. How are you doing, Mansel, today?
I'm good. A bit croaky, but...
A little croaky, eh?
Yeah, it was a hard Easter.
If you can just drag your microphone closer to your head, man, so that's fantastic. Lovely, 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 lovely. So, welcome to BGFM, Mansel. It's lovely to have you here. Now, I know you've been looking to release this album for many, many years, apart from other things. But before we talk about the album, let's just talk a little bit about yourself. Originally, you're a very... artistic person yourself. Fantastic. If I say so myself, you're a fantastic photographer as well. So do you want to just talk a little bit about where your journey come from photography through to music?
Okay, well, we're going back a few years now, I think. I guess back in my mid-30s, back in the 1990s, I've always played in bands, but more of a sort of weekend sort of gigger, generally playing bass guitar in bands back in those days. And in the mid-90s, I was doing the most soul-destroying job of wearing a suit, carrying a briefcase, and selling pensions, insurance, that sort of thing, caught up in the rat race.
I didn't know that, Mansel. I didn't know that.
I don't broadcast it.
I wonder why.
And I had a bit of an early midlife crisis, if you like. I'd moved out of Cardiff into the Usk area, and decided I wanted to change my lifestyle. I was just about to become a parent for the first time. And so I handed my resignation in that particular insurance company I was working for at the time. Don't really want to advertise them.
No, very brave move.
And applied to go to university and do a degree in photographic art in Killeen, University of Newport, and became a parent for the second time on day one, which was quite traumatic. I was having to live a double life, as it were, sort of a student during the day, dad in the evening for 3 years, but came out armed with my degree and a certificate which I have never looked at since, never had to show it for any particular reason, because all I was going to do was start a business, running a photographic business, and as it became an art gallery as well in the centre of Usk in Monmouthshire. And that was 2001, and I've been a photographer for over 20 years now, professionally.
Well, I've noticed you've always been a musician as well. You always played guitar. Yeah. You always played bass, as you mentioned, in a band. And bit by bit, slowly but surely, you've weaned yourself away from... of course, the photography is still ongoing, and it's still part of your ongoing business.
Sure.
But you seem to be leaning more towards the music side of things now. It's still arts, you know.
Yeah, I guess it's almost blindsided me, really. It's never been part of a major business plan. I'd love to say it was, but that's not really the way the last 21 years have gone. My business has evolved, really. It's changed shape many times, I guess, from running an art gallery to then eventually shrinking down to running a photography business from home, because essentially the digital world came along. In the middle of all that, the credit crunch came along as well, which people stopped buying art off the wall of me, and so I didn't need that big premises anymore. And
COVID as well, which reared its ugly head a few years ago too.
There's, every few years something's going to come round and smack you in the gob just when you think everything's going well for you.
Well, my next question, which is going to lead us towards the new album, do you think COVID, the fact that obviously everything's sort of shut down, gave yourself a little bit more time to think about what you wanted to do from a musical point of view?
I think, whilst I've never been what I'd call a prolific songwriter, I've always written songs when I've felt like I've got something to say or need to say something, or to just get some ideas out of my head.
So this album really is coming out over 20 years of thoughts.
Yeah, not far off, I would imagine. 15 or so years, I'd say. It's something that probably, it's one of those things which is a bit of a bucket list thing. It pops up in conversations every now and again. Oh, I'd love to record an album, but you never get round to it. Directly prior to the pandemic, my diary had become so full, and I'd been looking forward to a really positive year ahead. Going back a little bit, the reason I think that the music side has blindsided me so much and become almost the dominant part of my business is that I started playing in care homes, which meant that I was able to play midweek daytime gigs as well as waiting for that, fame and glory on the weekend when you get to play Kings of Leon and stuff like that.
Well, when we're talking about care homes, for those of you who don't know much about Mansel's does a lot of care home work, but he sings and he plays acoustic guitar in the care homes. How do you feel about doing that? Because a lot of people who I know are doing that sort of thing find it greatly satisfying.
When I started doing it, I guess I was a bit sheepish about telling the outside world that I was doing it, because I thought, how are they going to perceive me as a weekend performer if they think I'm just going in and singing great Gracie Fields or Vera Lynn or whatever during the week, and I very quickly got over that once I started sharing it on social media, and realised how it was received by my peers. I also very quickly saw the benefit it brought, almost on an immediate flick of a switch, when you walk into that room, which can sometimes be quite vegetative, quite sad, especially sometimes when they're severe dementia type units. You pick the guitar up, even when you're setting up, people start taking interest in, there's a guitar coming out of this case, that sort of thing. And then when you plug it in, 1 2 1 2, you can see the smile coming on their faces. And as soon as you start singing that song, a room can just be lit up, and you do it for an hour. Sometimes I might not be in particularly great mood myself, but I walk out of there with a smile on my face.
Absolutely.
And it's been, every gig I do is a worthwhile hour of my day.
Well, we were talking briefly before we came on air about certain things about the album itself. So I think we ought to hear the first track on the album, which we'll talk a little bit about the track after. But do you want to introduce the first track on the album?
Okay, the first track on this album is called "I Wait for You." It's essentially to nobody in particular, or to everybody that I might potentially meet, because essentially I don't know who the you is when I'm writing "I Wait for You," but I know you're out there somewhere, sort of thing. I also, having recorded the main bass of the track, came up with the idea that I'd like to create an introduction to the album, which involved my father. My dad, he's always been a singer, but he's not singing on this album, but he's got one of those rich timbre Welsh oratory voices.
He's got a very lovely spoken voice.
He's 96 years old.
Incredible.
And he's still totally independent, and I'm just so chuffed that I managed to capture his voice to be on the beginning of this album. I just stuck some lyrics in front of him one day. I said, "Dad, read those 2 verses," and I just recorded it on my phone, and it's now on the front of this album. It's actually the verses he recites are actually the last 2 verses that I sing on the very last track on the album as well, which we'll hear later on. But yeah, "I Wait for You." It's quite a long one, so get your tea in front of you and sit back and relax.
It might be long, but it's an absolutely beautiful track, Mans.
Cheers.
You'll have the blood flowing in my veins. You'll taste the love of the warm summer rain. We'll be like ships that pass in the night. And we'll keep moving, 'cause we know that that's right. And each daybreak will let me think of you. And I'll be proud of you, whatever you do. 'Cause part of me will be there too. Breaking bread. Breaking bread.
I know you're right there, holding the key. Unlock my heart, set my spirit free. I'll wait for you to come into my life. I long for you in the night. Face, be my guiding light, be my saving grace. I'll wait for you to come into my life. The tone of your voice, the touch of your hand, slip through my fingers like grains of sand. Just out of reach as each dream fades into cold reality from a halcyon days. I'll wait for you to come into my life. I long for you in the night. I'll wait for you my life. You shake my nerves, you rattle my brain. Without your love, I'll be a man insane. I'll wait for you to come into my life.
You're listening to 97.3 BGFM.
Yes, you are, of course, and you were listening to Daryl Cook and interviewing the lovely Mansel Davies. Well, that was a beautiful track, Mansel. As you said, it is a little bit long, but you listen to the track and it doesn't sound long at all. What about the people that played on that album? From what you've told me, there wasn't many, was there?
Well,
not the album, on the track, sorry.
no, I mean, when you look at the names on the sleeve of the album, you'd expect there to be a few more musicians on this track. Yes, I've got my lovely girls singing backing vocals on it. On the introduction, I've got two of my best mates, Jenks and Gwyn, doing some percussion, which then bleeds in to the synchronised rhythm of the drummer, Brendan. All fantastic musicians from the Aberystwyth area, where I originally come from. But other than that, it's me. Playing harmonica, bass guitar, acoustic guitar and electric guitar.
What's very, very interesting in that is I listened to the track itself and I heard cello on there, but it's not a cello, is it?
You're not the first person to mention that. No, it's me on a Telecaster. I didn't know what I sounded like when I was playing when I played electric guitar until now, and apparently I sound like someone playing a cello.
No, that actually did. That did sound like a cello to me, and I thought, well, there's no credits on the album to say that there was a cello player on there. So I'm quite gobsmacked at that.
No, never credit the cellist.
Absolutely not. Well, it's when did you actually write that? It was back in the...
I think it was about 2008 I wrote that song, obviously in a pensive moment, wondering what was coming next.
And the interesting part of that with your dad talking over the start of the track, or right in, shall we say, at the start of the track, was recorded literally in his front room.
Yeah, on my phone. I knew he hardly needed a microphone anyway with a voice like that, to be honest.
Absolutely not. But he didn't listen to the backing track. He had no idea what was going on. You just recorded what he'd said.
That's right. I didn't even tell him the pace or anything. I just let him read it. I won't deny that we've cut the lines to fit where they should be. Absolutely. In the track, but the track is king.
Again, big credit to John from Burial Studios, isn't
John David, what a lovely guy, so patient with me.
To be able to do that, to cut it in there, as if your dad was sat there in the room recording it with the music, is an incredible feat as well.
Yeah, and to marry the percussion with the drum pattern, which bleeds in from underneath it at the beginning as well, sort of to make it like a seamless join. It took a fair amount of
I could imagine. I mean, a lot of the listeners out there wouldn't be au fait with what goes on within the studio with the cutting and pasting.
No, when you got a pain in the backside like me who didn't have the idea of the intro until much later on, so he'd already recorded the first track and then, oh yeah, by the way, I want to stick this bit on the beginning now. Oh God.
Well, like, in all fairness, the whole album itself is really done very, very well, recorded very well, and mastered very well too.
I've, it's sort of thing that I haven't been doing all my life, and I thought, I'm going to do it properly, and so I asked John, can you master this? He said, yeah, I can, but whenever I write a song, I always take it to these guys down in Havard Mastering, down in the Vale of Glamorgan, and I thought, well, I'll take your recommendation on that. So I went down there, and I have no regrets on that front.
So the album itself is 11 tracks on the album?
There are 11, yeah.
And we are going to play for them next now the 4th track on the album, which is called
Shake It to the Right.
And where did the inspiration from this come from? I think I know. When you listen to the lyrics, I think we're going to all understand where that come from. But
let's say it's not a love song, should we?
No, it's definitely not.
It's anything but a love song. I think I've written. Should we just say I've written it since this current government is in power. It's more coming from my political standpoint.
And I think the lyrics, which are very, very clever, by the way, I think they say it all.
Well, I like to think that the lyrics are heavily important in this album. I don't think every song has got a good lyric in it. This is a song that comes from disillusionment, but I wanted it to be upbeat and punchy, a little bit sort of gypsy punk if you like, but it's got a folky sort of feel to it as well. It features heavily the two main instrumentalists that I've asked to play on this. Jasper Salmon from the Aberystwyth area, who's a fantastic violinist, and he's done a fantastic job on this, and also the go-to guy down near me, I live near Monmouth, Al Thomas, who's the Americana guru down there. They've both done such great jobs.
Yeah, they certainly have. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to listen to the track, and then after that, we're going to try and explore a little bit about how you perceive the song to be, how you start to write the song, where it comes from. But we'll do that after this track. So this is the second one from Mansel's brand new album, Breaking Bread.
We know better decisions we detest like unwanted dinner guests. Oh baby, would you want this for your baby? Howling. With all our might about poverty and the plight, and we know wrong because it's right. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby.
Take it to the right there by the wonderful Mansel Davies. Yet again, and Mansel is here in the studio with me at BGFM now. Mansel, we were talking just briefly prior to this this track being played. Your process of writing. Some people get their process from writing just the music to start off with. Some people do it with both. Some people do it with just the lyrics. Where do you come from on this?
I generally think that when I've got something to say, I like to get it down on paper, and so in the main, I'm not saying every time, but in the main, the words come first. I think that if I've got the music already in place, like I've got a groove going or something, it can almost dilute the importance of the words because they've got to fit in with the music that's already there. I suppose it's more like writing a poem than writing a song sometimes, because sometimes there can be rhyme within a rhyme within a rhyme. Other times there might not be a rhyme at all, and that tends to be more the way that poetry works. So sometimes the rhythm is already there when you're reading the words, and that can help with where the music then comes to complement the words. And I think that for me the music is there to complement the words, not the other way around.
Well, the whole album comes of that. It says, to me, the one thing that really strikes me straight away is the fabulous lyrics and the fabulous way that the lyrics have been written, but not only just written, but the way they've been sung. And we'll talk about that a little bit, about the way this track is sung, because your vocal line to this track, it doesn't start on the beat, and it sort of acts as a kind of a, in my opinion, a kind of a groove for the song itself.
I suppose this is the first time, really, that these songs have had like a full band arrangement, and I go out and gig these songs sometimes, as well as doing cover tracks, etc. And my style of playing has become very sort of percussive, bashing the acoustic guitar around and stuff, and having to create a groove even though you haven't got a band behind you. And maybe with a song like Why Don't You, that has helped to create the groove. This like a juxtaposition of the acoustic guitar and the vocals working with stroke against each other, that does create some little groove going.
It certainly does. It's very, very obvious, specifically on this track. I've got to say that this is my favourite track on the album. I think, as you said yourself, there's a lot of people saying exactly the same
It
thing.
seems to be going that way. Strangely enough, this is the only what I'd call a true ballad on the album. And people are going for that. So, yeah, that's great, because I'm going to do a second album, which is just full of ballads.
Is it going to be full of ballads?
No.
I can't see that Mansel, somehow. You know, there's got to be some protest song in there somewhere.
Oh gosh, yeah, I've written that.
And I can't wait to hear that either. Well, let's get on with this track. It's an absolute beautiful track, and I was gobsmacked that when it came on the album that you actually wrote it, because I remember listening to it in an older form of the radio station many years ago. You did yes, I know. And you did this track also, and I've heard you playing it with the Supper Club, who was around a long time ago, sadly disbanded now. But
yeah, well, that's 10 years ago. 11 years ago, when my good friend Jules, who's no longer with us, was fronting that band, and I donated him this song. He said, "Yeah, you can sing it. I'll do the backing vocals."
I know.
We dropped it down 2 semitones so we could sing it. Yeah, I loved doing it with them. I loved taking the back seat on that one a little bit and just doing the backing vocals. But obviously, you know, it's my song. I can do whatever I want.
Absolutely, sir. So let's play that track now.
Why don't you listen to my heart? Listen to my soul. Why don't you listen to the voice in my head? Why do you say it's out of reach? Say what's gone on said. Why don't you practice what you preach instead? No one said you had to be alone. No one said you're an island. Don't you know you could have it all? To me. And do you wonder who I am? Touch the words I say. And do you wonder what will become of us? And if you say I'd like to reach, open up and share, embrace the moment when it's there to be held and behold. No one said you had to be alone. No one said you're an island. Don't you know you could have it all if you choose to open your heart to me?
beautiful track. That is literally my favourite one on the album, Mansel, to be honest with you. And
So what's wrong with the other 10?
well, if you remember when we when we spoke,
I'm leaving.
oh dear, oh dearie me. If you remember, Mans, what we did, we did mention that you wanted me to pick the tracks on the album itself.
Sure.
But as I said to you, I couldn't pick the 11 out of the 11 tracks. I couldn't pick which ones I wanted to play. So we decided that when we came in that we would do 3 that I could pick and 3 that you could pick, and hopefully that would get us through to the end of the show. I think they're all absolutely, yeah. I think every track on there stands up to itself. Everything on there has got something to say, and that's down to your wonderful lyric writing too.
Well, I've for years now, for 20 years, I've been putting pictures on a wall, and I remember the first day I showed the public my pictures on a wall, and how nervous I was. And I've always felt that if you're going to stick it on the wall, you've got to be able to stand there next to it and be proud of it, really. And I've given this my best shot. So I've got 11 songs there I enjoy listening to. I'm also very interested to hear what other people have been drawn to.
Yeah, well, that's in all fairness, that is my favourite album, my favourite one on the album. But I thought your daughter.
I'd have settled for favourite album, actually.
I think one song doesn't make an album, as you well know. But I think your daughter's done a fantastic job on that too.
Yeah, my lovely daughters, Beth and Kate, they've agreed to do the backing vocals on this album, and I think they've done a wonderful job, and perfectly exemplified by that last song. It's almost telepathic the way that they harmonised with each other, as well as are able to sing with their old man, to be honest with you. So, well done, girls.
Yeah, but it wasn't just that. We talked a little bit about the vocal becoming, helping make a groove on a track. And to be able to do that and harmonise with you while you're doing that, I think that's a really clever thing for them to be able to do.
I think it comes from it not being written yesterday. It's a song that they probably can't remember not existing in this world, because they were young girls when I first wrote that song. So it's just a song that is part of their living experience, I suppose, and they've heard me singing it so many times, and they know where my stops and starts.
Well, that's fair enough. Well, we were talking very briefly earlier. You had a mystery gift this morning.
I did. A little package came from a well-known supplier. No note in it or anything like that, or receipt or anything like that. Just a CD, and it was Neil Young's "On the Beach," which I was really chuffed with. Actually, I thought someone knows me really well, but I don't know who. I love Neil Young. I've been influenced by Neil Young from the time I've picked up the guitar, to be honest with you, and I guess that first song, "I Wait For You," was my little homage to Neil Young, with the harmonica and the style of guitar that comes in with it. But when I looked at the actual cover of this album today, I thought, has this been sent to me by someone who's actually seen the album, has the album?
It's probably someone who has bought
and I
the
thought,
album,
I can see the similarities in the design of this album cover, because it's like a panoramic shot that flips from the front right round to the back, and it's got a Neil Young stood there, albeit facing away from the camera, but it's maybe not quite as spooky as my album cover, but I can see the similarities there, and maybe somewhere in the back of my mind I was influenced by it.
Well, the album cover itself is, again, I think is a great homage to you and your photography skills and the artistic way that you look at things, because it's a very, very clever and well thought out cover. If you see the inside of the album, usually there's a little plastic insert, and you stick a CD in the little plastic insert. But this one is not. It's pretty much folds out into one big picture, and the CD itself is put inside into a little pouch. But on the actual CD itself, once you put that into the pouch, it actually blends into the background of the picture, which is so clever. And for someone who's rather dull as me, was looking for a CD in a pouch on the side of it or something, for at least, I think, about a minute and a half, I was thinking, well, where's the CD? I couldn't find it. It was very well blended in, so which again goes along with the wonderful lyrics, the wonderful way that the song has been written, and the artistic impression of the cover just adds to that for me.
Well, I wanted to leave an impression.
You certainly did, that's for sure. And I bet a lot of people would probably think of that and maybe not even mention it.
Well, I'm very proud of the way it's turned out, not just on the CD but the actual cover itself. I've been driving past this field for several years, thinking one day I'm going to have a reason to stop the car and jump in that field and do a self-portrait. So I went into a character for this one. Got a Bible at Dad's house, and I'm stood there like a very sinister preacher. You don't know whether he's got a rifle under his gun or not, but it's that sort of Midwest sort of feel to it. Yes, there is a CD inside, so don't be disappointed if you can't find it. Just look harder.
Absolutely, but it's very, very cleverly packaged, that's for sure. Next up, well, we need to get another track in, I think, Mansel. So what's the next track you want me to play?
The next song that you've chosen, Daryl,
yes, I have, yes,
is called "The World's Gone In for Repair." It's essentially the lockdown song. It was written originally. The original words came from a conversation I was having with a friend on WhatsApp during the early days of lockdown, when everybody was shut away. A friend of mine, Sal Jennings, who lives in the Forest of Dean, ex of Aberystwyth. She was saying, I'd love to write a song. I love writing words, but I've never written a song. And I said, we were having a chat about how, we were being affected by lockdown. It was lovely, bright sunny days, hearing the birds sing, no traffic noises, that sort of thing. And I just said, write me some words and send them to me. I'll write a song. And so she did. She wrote me a couple of lyrics. And I bashed them around a little bit, tidied them up, so that they'd feel more like a song rather than just some random words on a piece of paper. And very pleased with the result. And so well done, Sal. You've written your first song and it's on a CD.
That's right, and it's co-written then. So that's the only one on the album that's actually co-written.
Only one on this album. Her second song is going to be on the second album. So watch this space. This time next year, maybe I'll be back here again. This one, I've picked up the electric guitar for this one and done some tinkly bits in it. But I'm very chuffed that one of Daryl's mates was good enough to come along and play some saxophone on this. So Rick Lawton from the Albino Frogs is featured on this song as well. So and he's done a great job. Lovely tone.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, here you go. So the name of the track is, Mansel?
The World's Gone In for Repair.
And what a great way to talk about COVID.
Happiest protest song in the world ever.
Shutters in the shops came down today in the town. The car parks and shelves were empty as they laid the new rules down. Coldness wrapped around us as we said it wasn't fair. But the voices strain and the sirens scream. There's something in the air, and the world's gone in for repair. Elders making their shopping lists tremble, locking doors, while all the broken-hearted lovers, they're climbing up the walls, shooting up on news-fixed toes. We break a question stare, but all that they can tell us is there's something in the air, and the world's gone in for repair. future selves who we never met in bars. Along with all our darkest thoughts, we find the need to care. A self-talk menaces the words. There's something in the air, and the world's gone in full repair. Sing louder, and I've heard the rustling of the leaves. I've heard sounds I've never heard before, and they're asking for reprieve. And I've seen the stars shining brighter, and they remind me we're all small. And if we'd played this game too long, then we'd not be here at all. Should we be grateful for all these things that make us stand and stare? Or should we wake up as we stand in line to make us all aware? Should we hang on in as we wait in line while the world's gone in for repair? Yeah, the world's gone in for repair. Yeah, the world's gone in for repair. Yeah, the world's gone in for repair.
Cracking track again, Mansel. Fair dues. Great lyrics, really clever lyrics from Sal. Well, we really running short of time at the moment, so let's talk a little bit about the rest of the people that played on your album.
Yeah, well, we've mentioned most of them. There was Brendan on drums, did a great job. Brendan and Jasper both played in the same band together up in Aberystwyth, actually, the Hicksters. Jasper, the violinist. We've got Al Thomas from over Monmouth Way on guitar, myself on guitar. There was Jenks and Gwyn on percussion at the
start,
intro section, yeah. And along the way Jenks has played like some occasional tambourine and cabassa, that sort of thing. My girls on backing vocals, brilliant. Two guys I haven't mentioned who I must mention. James and Owen, who played electric guitar. They happen to be the partners of my daughters as well. So
that's where that family connection comes in. Okay.
On here. James and Owen did a fantastic job on the songs they played on, which we haven't heard today, but they will be on the outro of the last song we're going to play. And last of all, but not least, my dad with his voice. So, one thing I would like to mention, if anybody's in the Ryder area on Friday evening, I'm playing a gig of all my original material where I'm the support act, basically, for a chap called Matthew Frederick, who's touring his album around Wales at the moment. So in the Lost Ark in Ryder on Friday evening, if you're interested, please pop along. The last song is Breaking Bread.
Now, the interesting part of this is, which I didn't realise, when we heard your father talking on the first track, what he's talking about, or the words that he's talking about, is the second, the verses for this track.
The last two verses of this last song are the words that you hear my father speak at the beginning of the song. So I think for me it feels like it brings the whole thing full circle and creates a nice cohesive unit out of the whole album.
Well, we're going to play that. That's going to be our final track for today. Now, the album itself has got 11 tracks on there, and I got to be honest, they're all fabulous tracks. Where can they get hold of these albums, Mansel?
Yeah, you can either email myself, info@manseldavies.com, Mansel with one L, Davis IES. You can find me on Facebook, Mansel Davies Acoustic Sessions. You can message me through there. Also Andy's Records in Aberystwyth. He will do a mail order service as well. If you find him and send him an email, I'm sure he'll do the business for you as well. So it's
right. Well, we're going to play this final track out, and the name of the track, Mansel?
This is the title track, Breaking Bread.
And again, thanks very much for coming in, Mansel.
No
Thank
problem
you
at
so
all.
much for coming in.
I've loved it.
The time seems to have shot past, so I'm going to play as much of this track as we possibly can.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks for coming in, Mansel. You take care now.
Blessed am I to have known you. Wondering why you're so far away in my head. I am with you. Breaking bread, and the sands of time shape new hills to climb. We can take it, we can make it. Raise your head from the sand, I let go of your hand. You can have it all. Should discover something new we can share in our heads, where we live together. Breaking bread. It is time to fly, time to reach for the sky. Spread your wings, open your heart. Raise your head from the sand, I let go of your hand. You can have it all. You have the blood flowing in my veins. You'll taste the love of the warm summer rain. We'll be like ships that pass in the night, and we'll keep moving 'cause we know that that's right.
to Blaenau Gwent and beyond. On FM, online, and on your mobile. This is 97.3